Hey Jose, thanks so much for joining the show today.
Great. Thank you for the invitation. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And to get started, can you give us a little context in your journey in UX?
Sure. My background, believe it or not, is in industrial design. However, very early in my career, I moved from hardware product design to software product design. I started in enterprise technology, management consulting, financial services, and retail. So that's kind of a super summarized view of my journey. Basically, my entire career in digital, more so than in hardware design.
Nice. I know one of the things that you're passionate about is the business side of design, which I think is super important, right? I think product nails that. They speak business language a lot, so I'd love to start with that.
Yeah, I think historically, and I am including myself in that perspective, maybe in the first decade of my career, I was convinced that our role was to teach business about design and increase the organizational design IQ. In the second half of my career, I realized that that was a presumptuous approach to our own work, and things needed to start in our own roles, understanding the business, becoming business leaders over design leaders, and being able to, through the work that we do and the partnerships that we developed, increase our own business and technology IQ. So in turn, we would help the organization increase its design IQ, but not the other way around.
And how do you do that for
Yeah, I think one of the key factors is that designers have stayed away from the business side. We are creatives, we are artists, we need a space to do our thing. Well, yes, I would agree with some of that, but to a point, if we really want to ensure that we are creating the business impact that our discipline has the potential to do in, we have to get closer to the business. We cannot just stay an arm's length. I think I heard people do, you need an MBA? No, you don't need an MBA, but you certainly need to understand the business. You need to understand how the company makes money, how the company creates efficiencies, and then map your work to those areas of work. I think another important factor is that we need to make sure that we align the work we do with the organizational strategic priorities. If we're able to map those connections, then we're able to also map the impact that our design work has with the business. And I think the last aspect I would argue is that we have to understand what are the metrics that the business cares about in order to be able to demonstrate how we are advancing those metrics.
Yeah, one of the things I see in tech specifically is product really owning those metrics to an extent and maybe absorbing design as a result of that. How do you think that's just how it is, or do you think design teams can actually like how do you do that without becoming contentious with product?
Yeah, let me start with the last part. Without becoming contentious, that means that we as designers or design teams or design leaders, we need to make sure that we um, do not take full credit to a contribution when the contribution is multidisciplinary. However, because it is a contribution that we are helping the organization achieve, we need to take credit for it and highlight it. One thing that I always discuss with my teams is that we need to toot our own horn. If we don't do that, if we don't articulate the value of the impact we drive, somebody else will. And more likely than none, we're not going to like the way they articulate it for us, or they're not going to give us enough credit. So it is about promoting the achievements that we have and promoting the contributions that we help the organization reach.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Tell me about the like strategy and operations side of design. I know some companies have design ops as a specific role. Sometimes there's design strategist positions, but it's pretty nebulous, I would say. Or
Yeah, I think not all organizations have these types of roles. I think starting from the top, we need to run the design org with the rigor of any business unit. We may not have a P&L responsibility, but we have to understand what our budget is, what our capacity, alignment, prioritization, how we are aligning, I just mentioned, aligning to the organization strategy. Many times we talk about design strategy, But let's face it, design strategy is nothing if it is not aligned 100% with the business strategy. The design strategy must be the business strategy. And with those elements, we can then understand how we're mapping to the organizational priorities. Are we really contributing to the key programs that the organization is driving, and how that is articulating or that how that is translating to either top line revenue, bottom line savings, customer satisfaction, customer sentiment, different elements of metrics that we can then argue that our work is contributing to achieving.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's 100% spot on, and something that design teams need to focus on. I also think a lot's changing in design, and I think many fields in tech right now with AI, with layoffs. Where do you think it's all headed?
Well, I think the pendulum is swinging. So if you think about 6 years ago with the McKinsey Design Index, companies started paying a little bit more attention to the business impact of design. And then the pandemic hit us, and there was some realization in general in industry about taking care of ourselves a little bit more so than having a little bit more work-life balance. And then the contraction in the workplace happened. Those are unfortunate cycles that we have lived through. We lived in the dot-com burst. We lived in the 2008 real estate crisis. And now we're kind of, I hope, at the tail end of that contraction. I'm seeing a lot more signals from industry that the organizations are reactivating and they are reinvesting in not just in design, but in terms of product technology and design. Because if we don't do that, we're not going to be ready for the new demand of the markets with the new technologies, as you alluded with AI, with machine learning and other technology advancements that are basically just helping improve the overall customer experience in general.
I think it's interesting you've worked in so many different fields like financial tech, B2C. Is there, what are the differences in terms of, do you think designers can easily hop between all these various verticals, or do you have to be super specialized to work in banking?
Well, I think a specialty in financial services or knowledge of financial services helps. However, when I first joined one of the top financial services organizations, I asked, where are the designers coming from? And the answer was, well, from other financial services firms. I go like, how many there are? Well, we have about 10 large competitors. When we pilfer from one another, we're basically doing two things. We are not developing new talent, and the talent pool is limited. So I thought that designers for financial services, B2B, especially in the institutional side, could come from anywhere. I very quickly realized that not just anywhere, they could come from complex application environments, from enterprise technology, from management consulting, or from financial services. So as you expand that lens of talent, then you get the chance to reach further and have a bigger available talent pool to feed the organization. The other thing that happened in financial services, at least 10 years ago when I first joined, was the fact that we only hired senior people because we needed people to hit the ground running. And we very quickly realized that we also need to hire junior people because we need to provide the senior people the opportunity to mentor junior people, the junior people to become senior people, and then develop the leaders of the future in general. And that not only applies for financial services, it applies basically to our entire discipline as a whole. Because we need to create the opportunities for the future senior practitioners and future senior leaders that will be taking our place in 10, 15 years down the road.
100%. That's a great segue to my next question, which is what advice do you have for those new designers entering the field today?
Well, I think if I were writing a letter to myself 15 years ago, I would probably say a couple of things. Take advantage of learning about the business and getting a deeper understanding of the business. And I think the other one would be to work with your senior members of the team to understand how the organization prioritizes work and be able to articulate saying no. As designers, we love to say yes, but that we do that at the detriment to ourselves, to our work-life balance, and also to the potential contributions that we have to the product teams that we're involved with. And if we understand how we align the work with priorities and how we align our capacity to those priorities, then we can articulate in an informed manner and have a more clear conversation with our partners in terms of what we will have capacity to do and what we will not have capacity to do.
So true. Prioritization is crucial. Just can't say yes to everything.
Absolutely.
Jose, thank you so much for joining the show today. I really appreciate you sharing some of these insights.
Well, my pleasure. I hope that this conversation sparks some ideas and inspires some people into some reflections or some actions that they could take within their own organizations.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you.
I appreciate it.